Look, it's the world's shortest Sasquatch. Come down out of the Rockies.
Join us as we take on the most epic and amazing motorcycle trails in the Rocky Mountains. Let's see if we can conquer it without wiping out. This trail is notorious among motorcyclists for its breathtaking scenery, challenging terrain, and unpredictable weather. It's not for the faint of heart, but for those who dare to take on the ultimate adventure. It offers an unparalleled rush of adrenaline and a sense of accomplishment that's hard to match. After riding the slab from Salida to Poncha Creek Road, the trail quickly became more challenging. We were faced with multiple water crossings where the creek had overrun the trail. The key here is to maintain speed and momentum so your bike floats across the unseen holes and obstacles below the water. We hooked back up with our new friend Dwight. We rode as a team on this part of the adventure. As we continued deeper into the wilderness, I was struck by the sheer scale and beauty of the Rocky Mountains. The scenery was breathtaking, with towering peaks, alpine lakes, and lush forests that seemed to stretch on forever. The air was crisp and clean, and the silence was almost palpable. I have to say, out of the 13 states we traveled on this trip, Colorado was my favorite state to ride adventure bikes. As we rode deeper into the stunning mountains, we conquered many obstacles. Some were water crossings, steep inclines, and rocky sections of trail. We decided to make camp before we started up the steepest part of the trail headed up Marshall Pass. We set up our camp overlooking a small creek nestled between the steep hillsides and majestic pines. When the sun sets and the sky lights up with a million stars, you realize how isolated and far from civilization you really are. When the sun rose the next morning, we were well rested and ready to conquer Marshall Pass. After breakfast, we loaded up our trusty iron steeds and started up the trail. Almost immediately, we started to encounter steep inclines and very rocky trail. Our progress was slow and we had many drops. When you're riding an overloaded adventure bike, you need to be on your game. Even something as simple as stopping on uneven ground can cause your bike to tip over. In some cases, you struggle to even pick the bike back up without assistance. We helped each other as we slowly climbed up and up this challenging trail. I was the lead rider, so after I crossed a section of trail, I would let the guys behind me know what was coming and what to expect or watch out for. If I got out of range, we would lose Bluetooth intercom connection from our helmets. When this happened, I would walk back down the trail and give Dave and Dwight a hand. When you embark on a journey like this, you need to be prepared for anything. The trail is notorious for its steep inclines, rocky terrain, and treacherous curves, which demand absolute focus and control from the rider. Add to that the unpredictable mountain weather, and you've got a recipe for disaster if you're not properly equipped and trained. The high altitude means thinner air, which affects the bike's performance and the rider's endurance. You need to be in top physical condition to tackle this beast of a trail, and even then, there are no guarantees. One wrong move, and you could find yourself stuck in the mud, or worse, tumbling down a rocky slope. Mental preparation is just as crucial as physical conditioning. You need to be able to stay calm under pressure, think on your feet, and adapt to changing circumstances. It's not just about the bike or the gear, it's about the rider's mindset and ability to stay focused and composed. Before embarking on this journey, I spent weeks preparing myself and my bike. I pored over maps and guides, studied the weather patterns, and trained my body to withstand the physical demands of the trail. I also made sure my bike was in top condition, with fresh tires, new brake pads, and a thorough maintenance check. But the trail was unforgiving, and I soon found myself tackling steep inclines, rocky terrain, and treacherous curves. The bike responded beautifully. I was absolutely blown away by how well the Kawasaki KLR 650 handled everything I threw at it. The key is to not concentrate or look at what's directly in front of you. Occur right over the rocks and obstacles, don't slow down. Carry enough speed and momentum and let the bike's suspension do its job. When I would come to a steep rocky section of trail, I would yell attack. This is how to conquer these daunting pieces of trail. It's a fine line between enough speed and too much speed. I knew I had to stay focused and in control. One wrong move, and it would all be over. The higher I climbed, the thinner the air became, and I could feel my energy levels lagging. But the scenery just got more and more breathtaking, and I knew I had to push on. And then, suddenly, I was faced with the most challenging obstacle of the entire trail, a steep, rocky slope that seemed to stretch up around the bend and out of sight. This section of trail had been washed out by a creek that flooded and washed all of the soil away, leaving only rocks. It was more like a riverbed without the water. This was the most challenging section of trail yet. My heart was racing, my palms were sweating, and my mind was racing with doubts. But I knew I had to try. I revved up the bike, felt the power coursing through my veins. I cried out, "Attack!" and launched myself up the slope. The bike responded beautifully, and I felt a rush of adrenaline as I moved in harmony with my machine. Leaning back to make the front lighter and let the bike's suspension do the work. It felt like the boulder field was a mile long, but finally I reached the top. That was the moment that made it all worth it, the thrill of conquest, the rush of adrenaline, and the sense of pride and accomplishment. Conquering this epic motorcycle trail was an experience I'll never forget. As I look back on this incredible journey, I'm reminded that it's not just about the bike or the gear, it's about the rider's mindset, preparation, and determination. But even more than that, it's about the bonds formed between friends that ride together, along with the new friends and experiences along the way. These are incredible memories not soon forgotten. This trail may have been a challenge, but it was also an opportunity to test myself, to push my limits, and to experience the thrill of adventure. It took us most of the day, but we made it to the top of Marshall Pass and across the Continental Divide. Off camera, I took a fall on the mountain and ended up with a sprained ankle and a bruised knee. Wildfires and weather ahead of us along with my injury made it necessary to end our trip here. Well, while our western progress ended here, we still had 1,600 miles to ride back east. We traveled 2-lane highways and back roads across 7 states back to our starting point. What an amazing journey. In Missouri there was a bridge out that forced us to take a ferry across the mighty Mississippi into Kentucky. We really got to see this great country from the back roads and trails. The thing about adventure is it just makes you crave more. I've already booked my next adventure ride. It's not quite as long this time, it's the Florida Traverse Adventure Ride. Remember guys, tomorrow is not a promise. Live each day to its fullest. Adventure is out there waiting for you, and every adventure begins with but a single step. If you've ever tackled an epic motorcycle trail, I want to hear from you in the comments below. What was your most challenging trail, and how did you overcome the obstacles? And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more adventure videos and motorcycle content.